really booked your flight? What are you leaving for, though? Like, we got 2 more days. You couldn't just wait for the next flight?
No.
It's not
Did
that.
not cheat?
I wasn't cheating. She literally asked me a question, and then she asked me for my number so she could get location. Is that a problem? She asked for a location.
You can go with that.
Like, you doing extra, you drive. Okay, well, listen, baby, please. I don't want to mess up the trip. I don't want to mess up my vacation trip.
Oh, you don't want to mess up the trip.
Baby, because it's not that serious. Just wait. Just sit down and talk to me. Like,
What do you want to talk about?
I literally told you it wasn't like that.
I have a plan of cash.
Why would you book your flight?
I heard you the 17th time you said it.
Okay, listen, I will pay you back for the missed flight. Can you just stay here for the last 2 nights?
You disgust me. I don't even want to look at you. No.
Okay, explain to me, why do I disgust you? I didn't do nothing. I understand you don't want me to give out my number to no other female, but I told you it's only for location. She
What
asked.
does that mean, location?
She wanted a location.
A location to
The spot she was trying to go to. Like, what are you not understanding?
I understand.
Bro, you're not gonna leave. Can you just please stay, please? Just. All right. I'm
I
sorry.
understand you. I
I'm
know
sorry.
you are. I'm gonna show you how sorry you're about to be.
Yes. First of all, your suitcase not even like.
This guy is grasping at straws, trying to explain away a situation that clearly set off alarm bells for her. His just for location excuse isn't holding any weight, and her reaction says it all. She is done with the empty words. You can feel the frustration build as he tries to bargain, but some lines, like trust, once crossed, aren't so easy to fix. It's a tough spot, but she's sticking to her boundaries.
My ex cheated on me with his ex, so I made him believe that I was unalive. So 6 months ago, my ex-boyfriend left me for, let's take a guess, for his ex. Recurrent theme, everybody knows. I look like I just got punched in the eye, but so he left me 6 months ago for his ex. Mind you, he was always talking badly about his ex, and one thing that I can say for a fact is, if your boyfriend is talking trash about his ex-girlfriend, it means he still has feelings for her. This is something I've learned, and it is very true, because sometimes we're fooled and we think, oh, he hates his ex, he would never go back. No, if he has any feelings, because indifference is the opposite of love. Hate is not. So if he's talking about his ex filled with hate, there's something fishy. So he basically broke up with me in the worst way possible. He was always saying his ex was abusive, blah blah blah. One day, out of nowhere, I wake up and I'm blocked everywhere. So no explanation, no nothing. And I find out through Instagram that they were together through a fake account that I created because, like I said, he had blocked me on everything all of a sudden. This was obviously one of the hardest times in my life. I almost unalived myself because it was completely heartbreaking. I mean, there's nothing worse than someone breaking up with you this way, just out of nowhere blocking you, and then you find out that they're with their ex that they were always claiming was abusive and whatnot. It was a very difficult and dark period of my life, as one can imagine. I was so heartbroken and I was so depressed that I think it was easier for me not to say anything. I left it alone for about 6 months. I left it alone. I didn't say anything. I was really bad. I knew he would eventually say something because it always is like this. They always do come back. So I did nothing. For 6 months, I did nothing. Absolutely nothing. And I moved on with my life as much as I could. But I knew one thing. I knew that if he ever were to come back, which I already said, I knew he would, I was going to do something. I was going to do something that would make him feel the guiltiest possible for what he had done to me. So I started thinking, what would that be? What would make someone feel the guiltiest possible for having done something like that? He does come back, I'm gonna make him regret treating me and I'm gonna tell him that I was unalived. I'm gonna tell you what I did and what happened, because he did. 6 months later, he did reach out.
When her ex, who had left her abruptly for his ex, reached out after 6 months of silence, she devised a plan to make him feel maximum guilt. She decided to make him believe she was unalive as payback for his harsh treatment and betrayal. By waiting for him to reach out first, she hoped this move would have a lasting impact on him for the hurt he caused.
There's a lady on TikTok talking about her encounter with vampires, so I might as well talk about mine. This New Year's Eve, I was driving Lyft and I picked up an order, and it ended up being at like a place that used to be a church, but it wasn't a church anymore, obviously, if you saw the festivities that was going on. There were like people with cloaks and like dark hair and heavy eyeliner, and there was like a red glow from the building coming out. 4 guys got into my car. As soon as they got into the car, I felt a chill. And yes, it was winter, but it was a different kind of chill. I turned around and looked at them, and I immediately knew they were vampires. And it wasn't even just like a thought. It was more so a knowing. Before they got into the car, I was thinking like maybe they were devil worshippers, because I had seen like a goat head and like the typical symbols that you see with associated with that. But I was like, no, these are vampires. There were 2 brunettes and 2 blondes. They all had blue eyes. Not that that mean anything, but their eyes were almost hypnotically blue. They were so clear, you could see through their, like, not their soul, but I can't even describe it. Their skin was white, but not white like crayon white, but it was very pale. But it was not a pale like, you know, some like white people are like, oh, I'm so pale. Even like red, people with red hair, how pale. It was still a different kind of pale, because even regular people, when they're pale, there's still some warmness to their skin. Like their skin looked cold. I don't know how to describe it, but it was more so the feeling of me knowing. Immediately, I start to panic. My heart is racing. I'm feeling like, is it too late to reject the call? Like, can I even ask them to leave the vehicle? And then I started thinking, okay, if I am panicking and my blood pressure is rising, then I'm like pushing more blood through my veins, which may mean that I may seem more appetizing to them. This is all stuff that's going through my mind. The man behind me, the blonde, who was like in the middle, touches my shoulder, and immediately it's like somebody poured warm honey over me. Like that is the calm just spreading down my body. It was like immediately I felt relaxed, almost like I was in a trance kind of there, but like watching myself. I can't even really describe it. And I knew at that moment that I wasn't necessarily in danger. So then the guy is like, well, our car is only a few blocks away, which I could tell from looking at the app. And he's like, but before we get there, we need you to answer a question. And you have to think very carefully about this. So now I'm like, okay, this answer is going to determine if I go home to my children or not. And it could just be my imagination and like me jumping the gun, and he could have been joking, but it didn't feel jokey. So he's like, okay, well, we have 2 separate cars. How would you group us together? Who should ride with who? What? So I'm like, I look back at them, and they're smiling and they're kind of giggling. Now their teeth don't look like regular teeth, but they don't look like the typical vampire teeth either. But they definitely did not look like human teeth. Their canines were a little bit more pronounced, but not in a dramatic fake way. I can't even freaking describe it. And actually, if I had to describe them, to sketch them out right now, I couldn't even, because it's like they're a memory, but not like a typical memory, like a memory behind a memory. I can't describe it. But anyways, I knew it. I'm like, you're vampires. Yes. I heard the answer in my head. No, I'm looking at them through because I'm like, if they lunge for the jugular, I'm gonna crash us all. But I grouped the opposite hair colors together. And the guy said, well, why'd you do that? I said, I don't know, it just felt right. He said, excellent choice. He took out his phone and he's like, I'm gonna start my car now. And I'm like, you can start your car from my car? And he's like, yeah, but we like you. You'll get home safe. Good. Like, you'll get home safe tonight. Have a good night. And I was like, yeah, I was kind of thinking that, doing Lyft on New Year's Eve could be dangerous because, like, who knows what kind. I was trying to make it seem like I didn't think they were the danger, but just let them know, like, in case they heard me panicking. Oh, fucking went and saw the vampire. But anyways, they got out and they gave me my biggest tip of the night. You would think that would have been my last ride for the night, but no, I kept going. I made it home, and I didn't tell any other person about this story because, like, are you supposed to share vampire stories? I don't know. However, I just did. So just know that there are other beings in this world besides us, and maybe they're not all so dangerous.
All right, so you're driving late on New Year's Eve, already a little wary, and then you roll up to a party at a place that used to be a church. Right away, you're seeing cloaks, eyeliner, and more red glow than anyone needs. Now, these guests get in your car, give you instant chills, and seem way too pale. One touch from them, and it's Calm City. That they hit you with a riddle about who rides with who. This is like the plot of the thriller where you barely make it out okay.